Hey, this is Jen Strogatz, and I'm about to speak with Mondo Cozmo, singer, songwriter, and producer, also known as his real name, Josh Ostrander. His next album, New Medicine, will be out later this year, and he just released his single Upside Down from the album New Medicine last week. So you just released Upside Down from your new album, New Medicine, which is
Yeah.
to come out sometime this year, right?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the release date. We had a release date and we're trying to stick to it. It's just, for a rock and roll band to put out a record, you want to be able to tour off of it, and we can't seem to get an answer as to when we'll be able to get on the road, which sucks, but understandable. Um, but yeah, we're figuring that out. But yeah, this was planning to be the lead single into the record.
Okay. And so I read also that when you were writing it, it was sort of geared towards the fact that 2020 was like an election year. Um, and now, sort of, what's going on in the world? What do you think about the irony of releasing it now?
Yeah,
Corona?
it's it's weird. The opening line is every single night I watch the evening news and wonder, and that was kind of the premise of the tune. It was just like I wrote it kind of when the impeachment hearings were happening, so I was really like I was all into that, um and I was like it was just kind of lining up. I was just like, man, this song, I think, like delivering a message like that, but in like almost like a Beck Odelay type of direction. I was like, this is the best way I feel like to get the point across. Um, but yeah, and then we were in Philly playing at the Ardmore Music Hall first week in March, I think.
Yeah, I was supposed to, so I'm a photographer. I was supposed to come shoot you at Johnny Brenda's
Uh,
that show.
I was so excited
I
about that freaking show. I mean, St. Patty's Day sold out show. It was
was
gonna be amazing. Um, but yeah, so we never played the song before, Upside Down, and we're at the sound check, and it was the first time we played it, and we were planning on playing it. We did play it that night, and I remember at sound check we played it, and it sounded great, and it was one of those moments where the band we finished it at sound check, and the band all looked at each other, and they were like, "This song needs to come out right now." So we just pushed to get it out, and the reaction's been really. I've never had a reaction to a release before like this. It's
really,
pretty nuts.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen you posting on your Instagram about it. Everybody is posting and like, you
it
know,
was nuts. Yeah,
and I mean, it's a the feel of the song to me is like way different than your other songs, which
yeah,
I really dug like the way you did it. It's almost like G Love style in a way
yeah.
to me,
I love that.
Yeah. No, I'm really into the new song and yeah,
That's great.
big fan. So anyways, so uh in the past I saw that you toured with Bastille and Spoon and
Yeah,
right? You were opening.
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
how
That Bastille tour was amazing. I mean, we only played Mondo had only played like 5 shows maybe before we went out with Bastille.
wow.
It was just kicking off. We were like, wow, and the first show was in front of like 30,000 people at like a hockey rink, and we're like, what? This is nuts. But it was great because it was such a learning experience to just be like, you can either go out and just do okay and get through the show, or you can go out and try to steal the fucker from them. You know what I mean? Like, let's try to blow them off the stage. Let's do everything we can. And it kind of started this mentality of the live show of just being like, let's go out and just play it like it's our last show and just leave it all on the stage. And I love my band for that because whether it's a bedroom show or a living room show or it's Kimmel or it's in front of 90,000 people in Quebec City, like we leave it on the stage. I love that about them.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading a interview you did a few years ago, I think, about you're playing at um someplace in Philly, and you just it was like full circle almost. I think your brother was in the audience
Yeah,
playing.
yeah,
Someone who taught you like what the right beer was to drink and things like that. And I just yeah, it was cool. So it sounds like you have really cool live shows. I mean, I was excited to see you at Johnny Brenda's. So
I know.
um
Well, we'll be back. I think they postponed the show, so
yeah, yeah.
we got to go make good on them, which I'm excited about at some point.
Awesome. Yes,
Yeah.
good point. So you live in LA now, obviously. How would you compare the local music scene in LA to the local music scene in Philly?
Um, it's different. There's just a lot more venues out here, which is nice. I mean, there's I'm always like seeking out the bands that are coming out of Philly, like forever.
Hmm.
I there is something really special to a band that comes out of Philly to me.
Yeah,
That there's a grit and there's a vibe to it that really is really special. From G Love to Dr. Dog to all these bands that I just have just followed. There's something really special about them. Um, LA is it's big, so there's always a lot going on. There's a lot of shows, there's a lot of venues, there's a lot of up and coming bands. So it's harder to keep track, I guess, of what's happening in LA as much as I try. Um, I guess that's the only difference, really. I mean, good music is good music. I guess it comes from anywhere, but it's I guess it's a blessing and a curse that there's so many different venues in LA because it's tough to keep track at times.
no, that makes total sense. I feel like well, LA is like almost just saturated with people who are like going to LA to like make it out there. But
Yeah,
I feel like in Philly, we have these local bands that we all know and love, and we all root for, and so I feel
yeah.
you're after really learning more about your story, you're such a good you're a perfect example of like what we stand for as a
Oh, that's
city.
sweet. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, you've fought really hard, and you've like been through it, and now, feel like this is a time for you to really like be the artist you want to be and things like that. And that's just like, I feel, a true
Oh, that's amazing.
Philadelphia story.
Yeah.
It was, you know what I mean?
There's always got to be like a rocky aspect
I
to like, you know what I mean? It's never
love that
easy
shit.
for anybody from Philly.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So I saw that you played the exponential, the XPN Fest.
That was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like that was a special show. Yeah. I
What was
love that
that
show.
like for you? Like after you grew up in Bucks County, right? I saw.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
grew up in Bucks, and then when I was like 17, I think I moved down to like North Philly, Fishtown area. And then I moved down to South Philly, like 4th and Reed.
Okay.
And then I was just touring so much that I was like, it didn't make sense to even have an apartment in Philly. My, you know, so I just, but yeah, there's whenever I go back, like when we played like the XPN Fest, and man, it is just like I'm like the band's like, why did you ever leave? It's one of those where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing here. People like you here. It's nice.
um, like growing up there and realizing what an influential thing XPN is. Like, what was it like for you to play the festival?
Oh yeah, I was, it's funny now because Helen and I are really close friends. But I mean, for years, I was sending Helen songs, from all the bands I was in, just trying, man, like if we can get one spin on XPN, like that would have been like making it to us.
Hmm.
So I do not take lightly like the fact that they have been such a champion for me. They're amazing people. It's amazing station. I love like going down and seeing like the growth of the station, and it's member supported, and it's just like, dang, this is like I'm like there's a sense of pride
For
that I have now for them, which is really cool to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think some advice you that you could offer to local musicians trying to make it in the industry would be?
Yeah, I get asked this a lot, and my thing is always just like, yeah, just play every show you can play. Honestly, if like you're gonna be a rock and roll band, like you gotta, you gotta pay your dues. You gotta learn how to like work a crowd, and like you're gonna be doing all the opening slots, and it's like, what can you do to try to like steal the show? And just hone your craft and get good, and just wear your band on your sleeve, and don't be embarrassed to send music to radio stations and ask for favors, and that's a hard lesson. That was hard for me because like growing up in Philly, like asking anybody for help was something that was inherently not something I would do. It just felt weird, but it got to a certain point where it was like, you have to ask for help sometimes. You have to like, pride will set you back 2 years, So just you have to be obsessed, and that's what I seem to find among people that have had a career in doing this, is that they're completely obsessed. It's
Yeah.
like you know and I think from Philly, like the best thing I got was like my work ethic from my dad, who was like a landscaper his whole life, and it's just like, dude worked his tail off, and I learned that from him. So I say, if you want to do it, you gotta just, you gotta wake up doing it and go to bed doing it.
Totally. No, that's really awesome advice. And I think that, like, I mean, specifically in the music industry, I think, like, a lot of ego can come into play with people, and
Yeah,
that can get in your way. And I think that's just really solid advice, especially, yeah, this in a sense of pride, because everybody needs help. Everybody needs to reach out. That's like an important lesson
yeah,
that I've had to learn in my life. It's like reaching out is difficult, but it's necessary.
yeah.
Um, um, so you left. So what's it like for you recording for an independent label compared to, the majors? What was that choice like for you? And how did that free you up as an artist?
Oh, it's a great question. Well, really, the main difference is my label now, I just send in the songs and they have zero comments. And I love that. Um, with the major label, there was a lot of back and forth, like with the songs and stuff. There'd be like mixed notes and, like, can we do this? Can we do that in the song? And I'm always fine to try somebody. Like, it goes back to your ego thing where it's like, you can say no if you want to, but it's like, these people, like my A&R guy at Republic was really smart. He was really good. He knew it. He had a great ear. He was in bands forever. So we'd always try it out. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Um, it just feels like where I'm at now is a very safe place for me to be as an artist, because they kind of just let me do whatever I want to do. And it's like, as an artist, that is just the greatest thing in the world, and they're like, this is your thing, this is your vision, we're just going to try to like, bring it home for you. It's like, man, I've been waiting for that for a long time, so it feels really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That must be a really good feeling. I mean,
yeah,
seriously. So, and then also, as a big, like, huge fan of Nirvana, I saw
yeah.
that you worked with Butch Vig. What was that like for you? And was there anything like specifically unique and special that stands out?
Yeah, Butch is, I mean, it's Butch Vig, so how that came about was, I saw an interview he did like 2 years ago on, somebody sent it to me on Twitter, and they asked him what he was listening to, anything new. And he said, there's this one artist named Mondo Cozmo. He's got a song called Hold On to Me that I think I love. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I
Yeah.
started playing guitar when In Utero came out.
Wow.
That was like, I was just like, this is what I'm gonna do with my
Happy
life. Like,
birthday, by the way.
oh, thank you. That's sweetie.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
Um, but yeah, so like when that record came out, Butch didn't do that record. He did Nevermind, but an equally great record. But like for me growing up, like that was that was when I started, and I mean, Butch's career, like, Siamese Dream, like these records that just absolutely changed my life. And there's a great quote about Butch, like every band, the record they make with Butch is always the band's best record. And I
That's
found that to
great.
be so friggin' true. So I had a friend, her name is LP, and she was working with Butch on a song, and I was working on a song with LP too, and she's like talking about Butch, and I told her about the Twitter thing. She's like, "You should meet Butch and talk to him." I was like, "Oh my God, okay." So then Butch invited me over to his house to listen to music, some of my tunes, and fuck man, just the nicest, sweetest dude, and it started this friendship where I would just start sending Butch demos that I was working on every day. I would just send this guy whatever I was working on, and like clockwork, the dude would just respond. And it opened up this amazing friendship where he would kind of guide me towards. Um, he's like, you should focus on this song, and I could tell when like he's so positive, but I could also tell in a very beautiful way when maybe I shouldn't focus on one song and focus on another. And the encouragement that dude gave me was just because I was also leaving the label to go to a different label. So I was feeling like a little like, what am I doing? Like, I was feeling a little lost. And that man, like, just gave me such confidence.
That's amazing.
And it was just, yeah, it was really beautiful what he did for me. And I'll always appreciate it.
So he was almost like more of like a mentor to you in a way.
Yeah, he was like, like my guru for this.
Yeah.
He was just a lovely friend that, because like I don't really send a lot of music out to people when I'm working on it because I don't want it to get too influenced by. There is something to like just being like, I made this, I love this. But at the same time, it's like having one of the best set of ears that has ever done it, like to be able to bounce a song off of him is like, what? It's amazing. It's so cool.
Totally. That's awesome. And then so then Grammys on the Hill invited you to speak
Yeah.
in support of the Music Moderation Act in 2018. So what was
Yeah.
that experience like? Like going to Washington, what was that like?
That was nuts. The Grammys asked me to go speak to Congress on behalf of the Music Modernization Act.
Mhm.
And Jen, I'm so dumb. Like, I was just like, I said no. I was like, I don't think I'm the right person for this because it's actually like really important stuff. It like helps get songwriters more money on the radio and stuff like that. It's important.
Mhm.
And I was like, do not send me. I'm like, I will mess this up. And they just wrote back. They're like, yeah, you're going. Like, we weren't really asking. We were telling you you're going. So I went with my manager. We flew to DC. We stayed in a hotel right next to the White House. Next day we woke up, walked through the halls of Congress, like talked to congressional leaders, went to the Senate, talked to senators, and it was just like, and as I was doing it, the whole time I'm just like, I should not be here. This is so ridiculous. I felt like such a phony. But as I was telling them my story of like, I've been doing this for 15 years and it took me 15 years to finally like not have to work three jobs to do this.
Right. And
And I realized I'm like, man, I actually like, I should be here. I should be speaking to them about this because it shows that there's so many people that work so hard at doing this and they're just not compensated properly for it. So it felt really good. It was like the coolest thing I've ever done for sure. It was just like it was crazy. I was very humbled.
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, yeah. I mean, and in whether you're like doubting yourself or not, like you're basically putting a face to, what
Yeah.
you're talking about, and that's important for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right. Yeah.
and so that's like an amazing thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That must have been really intimidating though.
It
I would
was.
have been,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah. So the so I read about you breaking your hands. Was that
Yeah.
for this new album? Was that before this new album
Oh
or
my God.
last?
Yeah, I had so the band on the last record we toured for 10 months straight,
Mhm.
and it was the most exciting time ever because it was like I said, I've been doing this so long, so finally having people like want to come out and come to the show and talk after the show and like I didn't say no to anything. I would do every morning radio show. I would do every meet and greet. Any acoustic thing, we would do it. We were just saying yes to everything. And at the end of that 10-month run, I was just fried. I was spent. And I knew I had to start writing the next record, and I wasn't writing much that I liked. And then the last thing we had to do after the tour was we had to do a video shoot where the label wanted us to do like a live performance in front of people. And I said no to it. I didn't, because we had like a 15-hour travel day coming back from New York. And then we had to be in somewhere in Hollywood at like 8 in the morning with all the gear. And I knew my band was fried and I was fried. But again, we said yes to it, showed up, and then it was just so wrong. And it wasn't wrong. Like there were a lot of people working really hard to make it great. And it was just like, it was something like I got to the point where I was like, I lost control of this.
Mm.
And now there's a lot of money on the line. And I wasn't happy. And we did the performance and there were technical issues. And I don't know what happened, but like I just, and I never, this never has happened. And hopefully it'll never happen again. But like I lost my shit. I went into the control room and the band's there and like all the band's girlfriends and wives are there. My management's there, the label's there. And I just fucking lost it. And I started screaming like you're ruining this beautiful thing or something really dramatic. And I turned and I thought I was punching like one of those foam walls that they have in the studio.
Uh-huh.
And it was a big glass, like double pane studio glass door.
Okay, wait,
And my
time out. I just like how did you mistake a foam like studio wall for like if it's glass? Like I just
Well, you have to picture I'm screaming at the moment, and I just turned and I thought I was punching. It was very quick. It wasn't calculated. And I just fucked up and I punched this glass door and my hand, like it came out and my hand was just like fucking veins, everything. My drummer came up and tied a tourniquet and we went right to the emergency room and I was there till like 6 in the morning getting like they were putting the hand back together. And yeah, there I still don't have feeling in most of it. And they were like, you're not gonna have feeling for 2 years. Um and it sucked. And I had to like go down the line of apologizing to everybody for what happened and that sucked. And that was around the time my label and I were like, maybe this isn't the best idea, you know, and understandably, it was like a liability at that point. It was embarrassing, you know.
Mhm.
So, um, but what happened was I started writing music again, even though I was in a cast. I was like writing tunes daily. Like the first song I wrote was Black Cadillac, and then Generator, and then Come On, and all these tunes that like are now starting to come out were
Mhm.
like it was like this great moment where I was like, man, and I went to the doctor because I had to go every week to get medicine and all that stuff. And I go to the doctor, I'm like, dude, I'm like Jimi Hendrix on acid right now. Like whatever you're giving me, I'm writing these songs and I'm just like I love and I'm so excited about. And the doc goes, let me ask you, Josh, do you think it's the fact that you're on these pills that aren't affecting you at all, or is it because you actually like literally punched the wall and dealt with whatever you had to deal with?
Totally.
Yeah, and I think he was right. But and it's weird because like it was terrible. My hands are still fucked, but it's like I would probably, if I you asked me if I had to do it again to get the songs that I wrote from it, I would say yeah. Like I had to go through that for whatever reason, you know.
I mean, I don't know how spiritual you are, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And that obviously was like a catalyst of getting you from here. You're, with this label, feeling a little creatively like pushed
Yeah,
down. And then, you know,
yeah.
and I mean, first of all, like, come on. I'm obsessed with that song.
Oh, that's sweet of you.
Beautiful. And
Thanks.
yeah, so, you know, that's what I believe. But yeah,
I think you're right. I believe that too. I I'm just happy to be healthy now and not punching anything.
for sure. I think that's always a win. I mean, so, all right, let's see. Oh, I also wanted to ask you what the effect of having a hand in a cast was like on the album. Like, I saw you taped your pick to your cast
Yeah,
to play
yeah,
guitar, and that there's some songs you can almost like hear the cast.
yeah. On if I mean if you're listening loud to Black Cadillac, you can like hear my cast hitting the strings. But yeah, that was an issue, and then I didn't really know what to do, and then just another saving grace from this whole story was this guy named Peter Hayes from a band called Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, which is one of my favorite bands, and I've spent many tours opening up for them. Just a great band, and he reached out through a mutual friend. And he was like, I hear you need some help. And I was like, oh my God, one of the world's greatest guitar players is offering to like give me a hand. And again, just same as Butch, like this dude entered my life and he would sit down and we would go through the songs. And if I couldn't do a guitar part, he would do it. And it was just, he made the record, it was like his guidance on it too. And same thing with Butch, just being like, it was amazing how much him and Butch kind of lined up on songs without even talking to each other about it. But they would kind of lead me in the same direction of like, you should focus on this, you should do that. Um, yeah, it was really like a collaborative thing with just a lot of people like helping me get this record done that I'll always be, thankful for.
That's awesome. So, all right. So I just have a few Philly-based questions for you.
Cool.
Let's see. Favorite bar in Philly?
I I just love the bar at Johnny Brenda's. I really do. I just like whenever I go in there, I'm like, this is my favorite place. I love it.
Yeah. The venue upstairs is really like,
I love it. Like on when you're on stage and the balcony when it's like so close, like the
yeah,
people. I love it. Yeah,
intimate, and I love that, yeah, I feel like the most sort of audience interaction with the band is like always at that venue for me. I know,
yeah.
and I love that. Well, I was about to ask you favorite venue, but what do you
Well, I remember my old favorite venue used to be, and this is a long time ago, but the Khyber Pass. When I was coming up, we would play the Khyber Pass like twice, three times a month, opening up for bands. I have not been back. I don't know what is going on there now, but that was always like some of my favorite memories of my life were at the Khyber Pass.
I'm trying to remember if that's the one that's like just I mean it's just like a rundown building at this point. Um
It's on, I think
yeah,
it's on
where's
Second Street.
second?
It's in like Old Town. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know what that one is. Like,
Yeah. I thought it just became like a restaurant, like
yeah, the
full on
one
with
I
like,
know there's like TLA, like I mean
yeah,
not on South, but hmm. Yeah, I don't know that one. I mean, you're 40, right?
yeah, just turned 40.
Okay,
Christ.
nice. Well, I'm 30, but you're the same age as like all the people I know. So they would know it. I'll ask them.
They would probably know it. Yeah.
Know it. Let's see. Favorite Philly slang that you still use to this day, maybe in LA?
When I say water, or sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm talking fast, I say water, like people are like, what? Where are you from? I'm like, oh God,
In
what's wrong with
in Florida, people make fun of me for saying Florida instead of like Florida.
Florida?
Florida. um,
Uh,
and are you aware of like any local Philly artists right now that you're really into?
I still follow like, there's a band called Illinois, that I kind of came up with, and we would play together. I still send my songs to him for him to sing on, and then he sends them back. for like backups and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just like, he sent me some new songs he's working on the other day. I was just like, how are you not the biggest thing in the world? These are so
What's
stinking
the
good.
name?
The band's called Illinois.
Illinois. Okay.
The lead singer, his name is Arch. Yeah,
I mean, I know Illinois. I didn't know it was from Philly. I guess.
yeah,
Cool. Well, I'll look into him now. But
yeah, please.
yeah, definitely will. So, yeah. I don't know. Anything else you want to tell me about Upside Down or New Medicine that you just like would want people to know?
I'm just so excited to finally get this record out. I hope it's sooner than later. I have a feeling it's going to be sooner than later. Um, I just love the fact that it's called New Medicine, and we're in the like we came up with that title months ago, and now we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm like, this is all lining up here, guys.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, I'm so excited. The record is like front to back. I could not be prouder. I mean, we wrote like 70 tunes and we picked the best 10, so they're good, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I can't wait to hear it, and I can't wait for you guys to be able to tour again because
Oh my God.
you know,
It's gonna be great. I'm excited. Like I feel like when it's time, like it's gonna be like really special to be playing shows, and I think the crowds are gonna be psyched about it, and I think it's just gonna be a win-win for everybody.
for sure, absolutely. Have you been doing any of the live, like digital fest or digital live stream things right now, or no?
We get asked a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I'm always a little hesitant. Like at times, I don't because I see some people doing them, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. You know, like not in a bad way, but I'm
Oh,
like,
I know. Yeah, it's
and
it's
it
a weird thing, I think. But
yeah.
you,
So we're trying to find ways to do it. We've been releasing this thing we did called Alive in Exile, where we record a song every week and put it out every Tuesday in April. We're releasing a song that we recorded. The band all recorded our parts in exile, separated from each other,
mhm.
and the response on that has been great. But I think that's because it sounds good.
Right? It's not
Like
live.
yeah, I struggle with that, like where I'm like playing things on Instagram Live, and I'm like, I have no idea what this sounds like. And it could easily sound very bad. So I'm hesitant at times to do it, but I should be doing it more because I really don't have much to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. Not much to do right now, but yeah, no, that's cool. So it's called Live in Exile.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's cool.
awesome. All right, well, who's your greatest musical influence? Last question,
Um,
or top five if you need to.
I love I love Jeff Tweedy and Wilco.
Mhm.
I think that dude is probably the best songwriter I've ever like seen. I think he's just a machine. I love I'm all over the place. Like I love Beck as much as I love, like I love pop music.
No, I'm
I really do.
it
I hope that like comes through. Like you said, like Upside Down sounds like nothing else. Like
totally comes through. Yeah, I mean, when I first heard you, I thought, oh my God, this guy is the new Bob Dylan, and I am a big Dylan fan, so I'm like,
me
oh
too, yeah.
my God, yes. And then the next song is like I don't just totally different, and I love that because it makes you just a super dynamic artist that like
No, that's sweet. Thanks.
many people can listen to. But yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's scary when you're really like with Upside Down. I was like, either people are gonna love this or it's just gonna ruin my career because it's like you never know. You don't know if people are gonna be like, that is just not, you know. So it's nice to get a reaction from that when it's like, some people only know me from Shine, and it's like, man, this is really not Shine. This is completely different. Um, but again, like that's why I love music. I love hip hop. I love pop music. I love heavy metal. So I'm gonna try to. If I had a whole record and it all sounded like "Come On," I would probably be kind of bummed about that.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, totally. I mean, it makes your record one that you could just like play through and not
Hmm.
have to, keep changing and stuff. So
Yeah,
that you
that's awesome.
do that. So, anyways, that's pretty much all I have. It was really awesome talking to you.
You too, Jen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.